Most High for giving us this day, right? Because at one point we were in the churches and we were doing all type of wickedness, but as we come back into the house of the Lord, it's very important that we go 10 times harder for our Heavenly Father. Because when we went to these churches and we went to these countries and things like that, we thought we were serving God, right? Because somebody tricked us, somebody bamboozled us. They told us that people I bring this picture out every so often, but they tell us they still sell these images in the stores. They still sell this image in Publix. They still sell this image in Walmart. So that just goes to show you that they're still trying to tell you this is God and this is Christ, right? But when we open up the book and look for ourselves, we know that this can't be Christ, right? This is not Christ. Christ was not a white man, right? They try to tell you that the angels were white. They try to say the babies were white. Well, where were we in the Bible? When you ask your pastor that, they have to answer these questions. Where were we? Right? What was going on with us? You're telling me we've been cursed all this time? Right? We went through all these pains, these troubles, and we're not going to be released from our oppression one day? Right? We know that these images these images are the faces of their religion. When we talk about Seventh-day Adventists, when we talk about Christianity, when we talk about what's some other ones out there, Jehovah Witnesses, right? All these people celebrate this image, but we as the real Jews of the Bible, becoming Hebrews again, returning onto our heritage, we know we are to denounce this image. We know that this is the image of the devil that the Bible speaks of, right? So let's open up today's lesson before we get into the portion today. Today's lesson is going to be called the gift. The Most High has a gift for America, right? The Most High has a gift for Babylon, right? Because everybody thinks when God returns, we're going to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya, and everybody's going to be so happy when the Lord returns. But that's not true. When you read the scriptures, we know that a lot of bad things are coming when the Lord returns here, right? For us to go back into our homeland and for us to be kings and queens as we once were, right? We know that this place has to come down. This kingdom has to be destroyed, right? And this kingdom is going to be destroyed the same way it was built. How was this kingdom built? Right? Anybody know? You said what?
Blood and tears.
Absolutely, through blood and tears. And this country has to come down the same way. It was built on blood and tears, and it's gonna come down on blood and tears. The same way, right? And then we're gonna establish the kingdom of heaven, Jerusalem, once again, after we go through these purges, after that gold, after we are tried through that fire. Because God has to prove us before we go back into the land. Everybody understand that? All right? So we're gonna get a couple of scriptures. Today's lesson, before we get into the portion, I'm not going to stay too long on the topic because the portion is long, very long today. But the Lord has a gift for America, and we're going to see exactly what that gift is. All right, so let's open up with a couple of scriptures. Read Colossians 3:17 first. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach and Yahushua, giving thanks to the outer one and the Father by him. Right. So everything we do in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. We call him Mashiach Yahushua because we know that there was no J in the Hebrew tongue. We know that his name couldn't have been Jesus when you go back and research the name. All right. So I always like to start off with that scripture. It just shows that we're giving thanks to the Son that the Father has given us, to our brother, to our Lord, to our outer one. The man that's going to come back and save us out of this captivity, right? And how do we know who was he coming back to save? Give me Luke chapter 1. Let's see what Christ is coming back, right? Why is Christ coming back? And who is he coming back for? Right? Let's get the book of Luke. And matter of fact, start at verse, let me see, I think it starts at verse 68. Start at verse 68. This is the book of Luke, chapter 1, and verse 68. Blessed be the most high power of Israel, right? For he hath visited and redeemed his people. It says, but blessed be the most high power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, right? This is possessive. Possessive pronoun says that he came his people, right? Let's see, read on.
And hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David.
In the house of his servant David, he read it,
As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets,
right?
which have been since the world began,
Right, so there's always been prophets since the world began. Read on.
that we should be saved from our enemies.
And what have they been saying? They said we should be saved from our enemies, right? Because we know right now when we talk about the so-called black man, whether it doesn't matter if we're in America, it doesn't matter if we're in Jamaica, it doesn't matter if we're in Haiti, it doesn't matter if we're in the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. It says that we shall be saved from our enemies, right? Keep reading. Shalom, sis. How you doing? Read on.
To perform, Salaki, and from the hand of all that hate us.
From the hand of all that hate us. So the question is, who hates us? Right? Because a lot of people say, oh no, we don't hate anybody. We're here to just get along with everybody. After they did everything to you. Right? After they've done all the evil things that they have done to you, they say, look, we're just here to be friends. Right? But we know according to history that that's not true. We learn how to operate with these people by history. We look at our forefathers. Remember, hold that, give me Romans 15 and verse 4. Right? Because history shows us a lot. It shouldn't be something we just skip over. Right? It shouldn't be something we just, oh yeah, that happened, it happened in 2011. Let's forget about it and move on. Or that happened, the simplest experiment happened. Let's just get over it and move forward. But that's not true. These things happen for a reason, right? Read that.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4.
For
Whatsoever things were written aforetime,
we read this scripture all the time. It says, what things were written aforetime, read on,
were written for our learning.
so that history is for our learning. Right? So everything we read in the Bible, even though some of these things have happened thousands of years ago, it's in this book for a reason. That's why it's written. That's why it's there. It's written for our learning, so we can operate, so we know how to move and deal with our brother, our sister, our wives, our children, and our enemies. Right? We have to learn how to not only reestablish the relationships, but determine the proper relationship that we're supposed to have according to the Most High. Right? So drop that. Keep holding Luke. Go to Job chapter 8 and verse 8. Job chapter 8 and verse 8. Right? See what that says. Right? Like I said, the name of the lesson before we get to the portion it's called "The Lord Has a Gift for America," and we're going to see what that gift is. All right. So read Job 8 and 8.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age.
So what does that mean? It says, for inquire, I pray thee of the former age. It means ask of the things that were before you. Right? Pray for it. Keep reading.
And prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
You gotta search for your fathers, man. You gotta search what your forefathers been through. Because of what? The scripture said that our heritage, we have been stripped of our heritage. Right? We discontinued from our heritage, meaning everything stopped. Right? I don't know how many of you in this room have actually tried to go back, looking for your forefathers or your foremothers. I guarantee you won't get past probably like 1890. Somewhere around 1890, that's where everything disappeared. You can't go past that. Right? But there's a reason for that. The Most High said you will discontinue, you will stop your heritage. There's about 400 years of history that you're missing. Right? 400 years of history and longer than that you're missing. Right? The old saying is, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from? Right? How do you grow if you can't be planted you gotta be planted in this ground first. You gotta plant that seed first. You gotta have that soil. So if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going. Right? So read that again, Job 8 and 8.
It's the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee,
right,
of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Prepare yourself for the search of your fathers. Keep reading.
For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are in shadow.
But we are but of yesterday and know nothing. Right? So the scriptures talk a lot about having this pride and getting away from that pride thing. Right? Because pride will destroy you. It will destroy your mind. A lot of people say, they like to think I got it all together. I know what I'm talking about. Right? That's not the attitude we should have. We got to make sure that we act as babies. Look, man, we got to go back and really search out these things. Search why these things happen. Right? Why are all these young black men and black women dying like this? Why are we number one in almost every single disease? Why are we number one dying from stroke, heart disease, kidney failure, all these diabetes, high blood pressure? Why are we number one? We have to go back and look in the Bible. We got to search for these things, man. All right, keep reading.
Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart?
Right? Shall not our forefathers, the ones that's written up in this Bible, the prophets, right? The people that came before us, shouldn't they be able to teach us, right? What we should do, what we need to know, and how we should operate, right? So let's jump back to Luke. Right? These things are written for our learning. It's not written for no reason. All right. So start at verse 71 again. Yeah.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 1, and verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies.
Yeah, we should be saved from our enemies, man. Read on.
And from the hand of all that hate us.
We know that these nations hate us. It's not a secret. Right? It's not a secret. All right, keep reading.
To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant.
And who was the holy covenant established with? Israel. Right? Our forefather from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's where the holy covenant was established. Right? He promised Abraham that we should be saved, that we should be a great nation of people. Right? Keep reading.
The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear.
Right, so that's the point of us getting out of the hand of our enemies, so we can serve the Most High. Right now, we struggle to make it to the Sabbath because we've been working all week. We got so much things going on. We got family to take care of. Right? We're trying to do it by ourselves. We don't know how to get along as men and women and wives and husbands and things of that nature. Right? Because of what our enemy has had their hand in our back pocket for so long, man. That's the reason. That's the reason why we have to be taken out from our enemies. Our enemies have established confusion in our households, in our mind, our spirit. We don't.
In holiness and righteousness before him,
right?
All the days of our life. And thou, child, shalt be called the prophet of the highest.
Right, so we know that this is talking about Christ. Right? We know that Christ, when Christ comes back, it says that he shall redeem his people. He's going to redeem the children of Israel, right? The children of Abraham, the children of Isaac, and the children of Jacob, right? Everybody else shall be pleased to us. They shall serve us in our kingdom. Because right now we're serving them, right? It's easy to pay somebody $10 an hour while they're making, $100,000 a year. It's easy. That's nothing for them. So we're serving them to provide them a greater service, right? It's rare that you find us in that position, right? So drop that. Let's get Habakkuk chapter 2. Habakkuk chapter 2. All right? Let's see what that says. Habakkuk 2 and verse 2. Start at verse 2.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 2. And the Most High answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables,
right?
That he may run that readeth
that he may run that readeth it, right? So when we start reading this Bible, because of a long time when we were in the church and we weren't really understand the Bible, we were reading it, we didn't understand it. But now when we become Jews, we become Hebrews, and the Bible is really open for us to understand. It says what? What are we supposed to do after we read it? We start running. That's why you have teachers, you have brothers that can start teaching after what? 6 months to a year after learning these scriptures. Right? You start learning these scriptures for 6 months, and you're running all over across a pastor that's been teaching for 30 years in the Sunday church. Why is that? Because we started reading with understanding. We started running once we read the book of real. Right? Keep reading.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie.
At the end of these things, it's going to speak and not lie. So everything we tell these people on these corners, everything we tell people in these classes, on the YouTube, on the stream, right? It says that this book is not going to lie, right? Everything's gonna have to come to pass. So when we start talking about have servants, when we start talking about, listen, Babylon, America has to be burned. It has to be pulled down for the crimes and the iniquities that have been committed against the children of Israel. All of these things shall come to pass, right? A lot of people, they look at you like you're crazy right now, you know? Because you wear your fringes, you wear your head wrap, you tell them you don't want to eat pork, right? You're moving in a certain amount, you're moving in a certain manner. Tell them you don't smoke, right? You're not going to no strip club and things like that. They look at you like you're funny, right? But when those times come, this book shall not lie. Everything in this book is going to come to pass, right? Read on.
Though it tarry, wait for it.
Though it tarry, meaning though it's progressing slowly, it says wait for it. Don't rush it, just wait for it, right? Read on.
Because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
It won't be too long, right? It won't be too long. So we have to understand what is to come. So let's see what is to come. Let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 16. All right? 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And like I said, I won't stay on this topic too long because I know we have to give the portion, and then we have to discuss some things for counsel, right? For today. But these are the things that these things we have to understand as Hebrew Israelites. If we talking about we're the chosen people of God and we're God's, elected people, we're the ones that have to understand this book from front to back. Right? Another nation shouldn't be telling us what's going on in this book. This is our book. This is the book of our forefathers. Not your fathers. This is our fathers of royalty. This is where we come from. All right? We're the judges of the earth. We're the gods of this world. All right? So we have to understand and study diligently to understand these things. Right? So start at I think we should start at verse 1. Yeah, start at verse 1.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt, and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry. For your destruction is at hand.
So remember, I started this class, I tell you, the Lord has a gift for America. The Lord has a gift for this earth. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16, it outlines that gift that the Most High or Christ has when he returns. Right? It says, for your destruction is at hand. Bewail your children and be sorry. Because you're gonna be sorry for the things that you have committed against the children of Israel. Keep reading.
A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back?
A sword is going to be sent against America. Who's going to turn that sword back once the Lord does it? Read on.
A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it?
Keep reading.
Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away?
Who's going to turn these plagues back that the Most High puts in the earth? The Most High said he's the one that establishes these plagues in the earth. These sicknesses, these pestilences that cleave to the people, right? Killing people. It says, who's going to turn these things back once I put it in the earth? Read on.
May any man drive away in the hungry lion the wood? Or may any one quench the fire and stubble?
Right.
When it hath begun to burn?
Keep reading.
May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer?
It's like once you put that arrow in the bow and you let it go, you can't get that bow back, right? Once that bow is on its way to its target, you can't stop that bow. It's too late. Right? Keep reading.
The mighty Most High descendant shall not be afraid.
So that's talking about these trumpets, right? It's talking about these warning signs. He's going to be the one doing these things. And shall we not be afraid when we see it? When we hear these things going on with the Most High? Keep reading.
The Most High shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
Right? So meaning even at the presence of the Lord, we are beaten to powder, man. Right? At the image, the face of the Most High, we can't even face him. Right? Read on.
Glory of his power, right? For it shall not be put out till they consume the foundation backward. Even so, the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again.
So we got a couple of things going on here. We got plagues and we got fire in the earth. Right? These fire, where does this fire come from? This fire is coming from the Most High. It's coming from those arrows, right? When we talk about those arrows being shot by the Most High. The Most High is the one that's going to be doing these things. Right? He's going to be the one that allows these nations to go to war with each other. Right? Drop that right there. Give me, matter of fact, keep reading on that for a little bit. Keep reading on that.
Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand fear. The beginning of evils.
It's going to be the beginning of evils, the beginning of wars, right? The beginning of those end times that we've been talking about for so long. We see it coming soon. It's just a matter of time, right? It's kind of like, you're in high school and you've been hearing about a fight that's brewing, right? You and Tyrone a fight all year. They still haven't fought. Back and forth, until that last day of school comes, right? Until that last day comes. Now it's a big brawl. Now it's going down, right? But we've been talking about it for so long. That tension is brewing. This is the same thing that the Bible talks about when we talk about rumors of war. When we talk about those arrows, right? So these are the things that we should be aware of. We should be waiting for these things to come, but preparing ourselves at the same time, right? Jump down to verse 71.
Verse 71, right? They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still and destroying those that fear the Most High.
So now you have a couple of other things going on, right? Now when we talk about Jacob's trouble, remember when we talk about 2 Ezra chapters 15 and 16, this is talking about those end times, those evil times to come, right? We talk about Jacob's trouble. Right? They're going to be trying to spoil the ones that fear the Most High, trying to kill the ones that fear the Most High, that still believe on the Lord. Can you read it?
For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to be casting people out of their houses. Keep reading.
Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in fire.
So remember, God tells us to prove our friends. God has to prove us the same way. Right? He wants to see if you really believe him. What's going to happen when you get kicked out of your house, when you don't have nowhere to go, when you don't have that food, right? What's going to happen? Are you still going to believe on the Lord like you say you do? All right? He said he got to try us through that fire as gold is tried. What happens? Why is gold placed in fire? Does anybody know? Anybody remember? It purifies it, right? Because gold has impurities. To make gold pure, to get the impurities out, you got to put it through that extreme heat. When you put it through that extreme heat, all the other golds and metals, or all the other metals that's in that gold, come out of it. And what's left at the end of that fire? Pure gold. Right? So the Most High has to do us just like he does gold. He has to get all of these impurities out of us. Right? He has to humble us. He got to get rid of that pride that's in us. Right? Read on.
Hear, O ye, my beloved, saith the Most High. The days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same.
So those that are keeping the commandments, if you really believe on the Lord, it says he's going to deliver us. He's going to be the one that saves us in those days of trouble that are at hand. Right? So it's very important that you don't forget that. Right? Because we might not have a sanctuary to come to when these days go down. When these things start going down, we might not have these places. You might not be able to get in contact with the minister or Kadash or whoever. You may not be able to get in contact with these people. So what are you going to do? You're going to have nothing but the Lord to rely on, not men. All right, read on.
Ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your God.
The Most High got to be our guide when those times come. When that arrow is shot, when that fire comes, when that plague comes in the earth. Read on.
And the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Most High Power, let not your sins weigh you down.
Don't let your sins weigh you down. Don't let your transgressions against the Lord keep you down. I tell people every week when we come to class, if you're working on a sin, if you're working on something, get rid of it now. This is the time. This is the time to get rid of it. All right? You've been struggling with something, a year or 2 years, it's time to get rid of that sin. Right? It might be a certain person in your life causing you to go down that road. It might be a certain, it might be something that you got going on that's attached to a sin. You gotta let that go. Because these sins, what's the wages of sin? Death. And we don't want to die, we want to live. When we read the book of Baruch, it says that those that keep the commandments shall live. Those that leave the commandments shall die. I want to see everybody in this room live. Right? That is our goal as Hebrews. That is our goal as servants of the church. Right? We don't.
And let not your iniquities lift up themselves.
Keep reading.
Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins.
Woe unto them that you're bound up with sin. You got so much sin you can't get it off you. Read on.
And covered with their iniquities. Like as a field is covered over with bushes.
Keep reading.
And the path thereof covered with thorns.
Right.
That no man may travel through.
Right.
It is left undressed, and it is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith.
Right. So that sin is gonna be your downfall. That sin is gonna be your destruction. It's swallowed up with this world. Right? We Deuteronomy 7 and 6 all the time talking about be holy. You are a holy people, a separate people. We shouldn't be swallowed up when the world goes down. All right? When that fire and all these plagues start hitting this earth, we don't want to go down with these things, man. That's why we gotta make sure we get right now. All right? Keep that open communication with the Most High. All right? Keep working on your sin, working on that thing. Okay, if you got an issue with smoking, you work every day to push that thing of that sin. We want to be as righteous as possible. We want to walk on that narrow path. So that whole chapter sums up what the Most High is coming back with. Right? What he's going to be doing to this earth. That's that gift to America for the things that they have done to the children of Israel. Right?
This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. The Most High will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. With a great noise.
A great noise. What do you think that noise is? Wow. It's not going to be a soft sound. You think you're going to be walking, you hear a little pop in the sky? Oh, that wasn't nothing. That's the missiles. That's those missiles. That's what we're talking about when we talk about that war going down. When you hear that big boom, right? That's going to catch your attention. Right? A noise that you never heard of before. Right? You read it?
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
Fervent heat, the elements. Right? What is strong enough to do that? Right? You got to do your research on what we talk about. When we start talking about these missiles and things of that nature, you got to do your research on these things. Esau has created some weapons that you have never heard of. Trust me. When we talk about the heat that can burn up the elements of the world, it don't matter what type of metal it is, right? It's not going to be able to withstand. That's a different type of heat. Right? When we talk about that nuclear heat, right? These are the weapons that have been created to destroy this earth. Right? So read that again.
In the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Shall be what?
Shall be burned up.
That's that gift from the Lord. Shall be burned up. Because what? Give me Isaiah 65 and 16, 15. 60, Isaiah 66 and 15. Slide. Let's see what that says. All right. Say the works of the earth are going to be burned up. All right. So let's see. So why are these things going to be burned up? Let's see. Isaiah 66, verse 15.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 15.
Uh-huh.
For behold, the Most High will come with fire.
With what?
The Most High will come with fire.
All right. So like remember, like I said, everybody thinks the Lord is coming back to gather. Oh, let's just hug it. Let's hug it out, y'all. Right? I miss you guys so much. Give me a hug. Right? The Most High said he's coming back with fire, though. Read on.
And with his chariots, like a whirlwind, to render his anger.
To do what?
To render his anger.
That means the Most High is upset. That's why he's coming back with that fire. It says to render his anger. God is not pleased with what's going on in this earth right now. When we start talking about the homosexuality, when we start talking about kids disrespecting their parents, right? That's a big one. Not listening, not honoring your father and your mother. When we start talking about those things, God is not pleased with those things, right? God is not pleased with it. It's very big on respecting your parents. It's very big on respecting your neighbor, right? Not sinning. It says God is upset with this work. Read on.
With fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
What does it mean to rebuke? What does rebuke mean? Anybody know? To correct, right? Correction. That means, what does it say? It says, in his rebuke, meaning his correction, with flames of fire. Right? See, the pastor forgot to read that verse. Right? When we were in Sunday church, he never read that. He never told us that the Lord is coming back with fire. It gives you a different perspective about the Most High now. Right? Maybe we didn't know what type of God we were serving that entire time. Right? Keep reading.
For by fire and by his sword will the Most High plead with all flesh. And the slain of the Most High shall be many.
No, it's going to be few.
Shall be many.
He's not killing a lot of people.
Shall be many.
It shall be many. The slain of the Most High shall be many. Right? It's not going to be one or two people. It's going to be a lot of people that are dying by the hands of the Lord. Right? So when we talk about that fervent heat, right? The elements of the earth passing away and burning up. The Most High said he's doing this because he is angry with the people, the inhabitants of the land, the inhabitants of this earth. Right? Give me Luke 12:47, I believe it. Let me see what that is. Luke 12 and verse 47. Let me see if that's correct.
And the servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, having will himself.
Yeah, read that.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, and verse 47. Neither did according to his will shall be beaten with many stripes.
You're going to be chastised every single day if you do not prepare yourself for what's coming on this earth. You should be trying to get yourself right each and every day. Even the thoughts in our mind, we should be trying to control. Right? Because remember, sin starts with what? That lust. Sin starts in your mind. Right? Let me see.
Let the brother start with.
Let me see. Start at verse. Start at verse 13.
This is the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 13. Let no man say, when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High.
So if you say you're tempted, don't say you tempted of the Most High. Right? Keep reading.
For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil.
The Most High is not tempted with evil. Read on.
Neither tempted he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
When you are drawn away from what? When you're drawn away from the law, statutes, and commandments by your own lust, by your own desires, things that you want to please yourself, right? Read that from the top again.
This is the book of James chapter 1 and verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High.
Right.
For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil.
Right.
Neither tempteth he any man.
Neither tempted he any man. The Most High won't tempt you like that. Read on.
But every man is tempted, which when he is drawn away of his own lust.
When you're drawn away of your own lust, your own desires, things that you want to please yourself, read on.
And enticed. Then when lust hath conceived,
right,
it bringeth forth sin.
When that lust comes, it brings forth sin. Right? And where did all this start? In your mind. It all started from a thought first. Right? So you gotta be careful of the things that are even entering in your mind in the first place. Right? You have a wicked thought, you gotta say, hush your tongue. Right? Let me go. I'm fleeing away. Right? I tell brothers and sisters all the time, let's say you're dealing with a sin, you're dealing with some type of weakness in your flesh, right? Why put yourself in the position in the first place? If you know you have a problem with candy, you don't go to the candy store and stare at the shelves of candy. If you know you have a alcohol problem, you don't go in the liquor store and say, I'm just going to look at this bottle of candy real quick, right? If you know you got a problem with women, you don't go into the strip club and say, I'm just going to look around. Because it all starts with that mind, that thought first. That's when that sin is going to come and it's going to entice you, it's going to get you. All right? So we got to make sure we're not putting ourselves in that position in the first place. So drop that. Go back to Luke chapter 12, verse 47.
This is the book of Luke chapter 12 and verse 47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
He's going to be beaten with many stripes. You're going to be chastised by the Lord. Right? Read on.
But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes, right, shall be beaten with few stripes.
And what does this go into? It's saying, if you know better, do better. Right? You can't unknow what you already know. You can't that's why I ask people, are you sure you want to hear this truth? Are you sure you want to understand what we're trying to tell you? Right? There's a lot of responsibility once you understand what we're doing here. Right? Can you read it?
For unto whomsoever much is given,
to whom much is given, I say this all the time, read on, to whom much is given, keep reading.
Of him shall be much required.
Of him shall be much required. If we have been given the knowledge of the law, statutes, and commandments, that means there's a lot that's required of us. If we talk about we're the gods and the judges of the earth, once again, that means there is a lot of required of the children of Israel.
Right.
All right? Read on.
And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. I am come to send fire on the earth.
I've come to send fire on the earth. This is Christ talking. Right? This is Christ talking. I am come to send fire on the earth. Right? Read on.
And what will I, if it be already kindled?
Right? If it be already kindled, what will happen? All right? So let's get a few more scriptures on this, and then we're going to try to jump into the portion. Give me Matthew 10 and verse 34. All right? Matthew 10 and 34. All right? I know it's a lot that's going on with us nowadays, man. We're fighting our enemy from every end right now. And it's been this way for a while, and it's very important that you understand what's going on. All right? Or you will be fighting in vain. Right? So read that, Matthew 10, verse 34.
It's the book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 34. Think not that I come to send peace on earth.
Think not that I I come to send peace. That's not why Christ came back on this earth. He said, think not I came to send peace on earth. Read on.
I came not to send peace,
But what?
but a sword.
But a what?
But a sword.
And what do you use a sword to do? To kill. A sword is used to kill. It's not to say, let's take a picture, brother. Right? It's not to say let's cut a piece of pie. He didn't have that sword in his hand for that reason. Right. A sword is used to kill. This is Christ talking. Right? Give me Luke 19. Go back to Luke 19 and 27. All right? All these places we talk about these fires, these plagues, things that are sent on the earth. All of these things are gifts from the Most High to America. For all of the things, the crimes that you committed against our people. Because a lot of times, you know, other nations, they think, oh, hey, you guys are out of slavery now. Just go to work and do what you need to do. But they don't understand the things that came along with post-slavery. There are things we still go through in our households right now today because of slavery. And they don't understand that because they don't live with us. Right? They don't understand it. They don't understand we don't have family structures. Right? Which is a very big deal. That's why we don't have a nation. We don't have a nation because the family structure has been torn and broken down. So read what you got.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 19, verse 27.
Uh-huh.
But those my enemies,
Uh-huh.
which would not that I should reign over them,
Uh-huh.
bring hither.
Bring hither. This is Christ talking. Those my enemies that wish I don't reign over them, bring them hither and do what?
And slay them.
And do what?
And slay them.
So give them a hug.
And slay them.
Tell them it's going to be okay.
And slay them.
And slay them. That's what Christ said. Slay them. All right? Because a lot of people think that Christ was just a soft guy. Like you could slap him and that, you know, Christ's not going to say anything. Right? They like to make up this patty cake God, this patty cake Jesus. Right? The blonde hair with blue eyes Jesus. That's not the Christ we serve. We serve a God of war. We serve a man, right, an Otto of war. That's the type of man we serve. All right? So drop that. Give me on Isaiah 54, last one. Isaiah 54 verse 16. All right. And probably next week we'll try to go over that chapter 15 and 16 more in detail. Because it's a lot it's a lot of meat in those two chapters, second Ezra.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
Right. Keep reading.
And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
Uh-huh.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
He created the waster to destroy. Right? That's what God did. God created all of these things to what? To destroy, to bring it back down. Because we know that what? This world is going to get any more righteous than it is. This world is only going to get this point on. Right? When we start talking about the wickedness that's going to increase into the earth in the last days, you haven't seen nothing yet. Right? We haven't seen nothing yet. It's only going to get worse as this world turns. Right? So, with that being said, does anybody have any questions about those couple of scriptures we went through? Right? I know it wasn't a lot of scriptures, but it just goes to show you that God is not going to come back and give everybody a hug. Christ is not coming back to give everybody a hug. That's not what's going on. Right? Does he love the children of Israel? Absolutely. But there's a couple of things that have to happen first before we get back into that home. Right? So anybody got any questions about that? Right? You good on that? All right, hallelujah. All right, so our portion today is in Genesis. It's going to be Genesis chapter 32. I believe it's 32 and 10. Let me get it for you over one second. I believe it's Genesis 32 and 10 to the end of Genesis 36 and 8. It's a pretty long portion. And I think what we'll do, we'll go straight through. We'll go straight through those portions, those chapters, and then we'll take a break, we'll eat, and then we'll discuss what we need to discuss for council, moving forward on how we're going to be moving forward as a school, as a congregation, as a body. All right. So let me just confirm this real quick. Yeah, it's going to be Genesis 32 and verse 4 to Genesis 36 and verse 43. And real quick, before we get started, is everybody subscribed to the YouTube page for Lee County? Everybody, are you subscribed? Brother Mark, did you subscribe? Are you sister subscribe? All right. When you get a chance, make sure you subscribe, right? Because by these videos, this is how people understand that we're in Lee County. Right? This is our marketing, this is our advertising for Lee County. So when you see those videos pop up, make sure you like those videos and share them if you can. Whether it be a class video or whether it be a video of us dialoguing with someone on the street. This is how, our videos travel. You'll be amazed how far these videos go. Right? There's brothers that are in Canada, there's brothers in Jamaica, there's brothers in Germany, there's brothers all over Japan. We've gotten calls from everywhere just from watching those videos on YouTube. Those YouTube videos travel a long way. What you got, brother? People in Haiti, yes, absolutely. Right? There are people in Haiti reach out to us all the time. I know we had a school in Haiti. I'm not sure exactly what happened to that. There was a school that we had in Haiti. I'm not sure if the brothers have moved back or they started their own thing and went to a different. I think they went to a different country like Brazil or something like that. But other than that, yeah, we definitely had people in Haiti reaching out to us. People in Haiti watch our videos. There's people all over the place. So make sure if you haven't subscribed to that page, The Light of Zion and Lee County. Right? Like those videos. Thumbs up those videos. Right? All right. So we'll go ahead. We'll get started with Genesis chapter 36 and verse 4. 32 and verse 4. My bad. 32 and 4. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 32 and verse 4. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye us. I am there until now. Right. And I have oxen and donkeys, flocks and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee. Right. So if you realize why is Jacob calling Esau his Lord? Right, what's going on right now? Right. Remember the interaction that Jacob and Esau just had. Right? Jacob supposedly stole the blessing from Esau. Esau was about to kill this man for doing so. So remember, Esau had been looking all over the place for Jacob, and Jacob kind of flew away from his city at this point. So he wanted to go back into his land where he came from. He's asking, he has to be polite at this point. He says, listen, go and ask my Lord, can we go back? Like, are we good? Right? Keep reading.
And 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape.
All right, so right now what he did, he split his people up into two groups. Right? Why did he do this? Because if he killed one, the other side can escape. Right? So he split them in two. He's being strategic at this point. Right? Read on.
And Jacob said, O Most High of my father Abraham, and the power of my father Isaac, and the Most High which said it unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast shown unto me, unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I have become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she goats and 20 he goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. Their milch camels with their colts, for 40 kine and 10 bucks, 10 bulls, 20 she donkeys and 10 fowls. And he delivered them into the hand of his servant, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, whose art thou, and whither goest thou, and whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, on this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me. Right. And afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me.
Right, so what he did, he put presents before him, right? So Jacob stayed towards the back of what's going on. He's saying when he sees Esau, tell Esau that, listen, I belong to Jacob, but we're going to belong to you. What you got? You got a question? Yeah, this was Jacob. Yeah, Jacob was about to give these people unto him. He was absolutely right. Remember, Jacob. I mean, you gotta remember what type of man Esau was, right? When we talk about Esau, still is absolutely right. When we talk about the characteristics of Esau, Esau was that killing man. He was blessed with the sword. He's the one that knows how to kill men. He's the one that could go in those fields, knows how to sit in those trees and things of that nature. He was a cunning hunter. Jacob was not that type of man. Jacob was a person that used to sit at home. He would rather just chill. He didn't want to be bothered too much. You know what I'm saying? Stay to himself. Jacob and Esau were two totally different people, right? So when he heard Esau was looking for him, he was frightened. Even when he heard when he was with 400 men, he was more frightened, right? So he said, let me give him a gift, right? Because we know scriptures, using wisdom, scriptures say, well, a gift destroys the heart, right? A gift what? A gift will turn your heart away from true judgment. That's what we execute, right? That's why he's trying to give him all of these things, right? So keep reading.
Okay. Verse 21. So with the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company, and he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had, and Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him unto the breaking of the day.
Now this is very important, right? It says Jacob was left alone, and now he started to wrestle a man with him unto the breaking of the day. Read on.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
Right. So he's asking for a blessing at this point. Right. Jacob's leg is dislocated at this point. Right. Keep reading.
And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
But who?
But Israel.
This is where Jacob's name turns to Israel. Right? Read on.
For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men, and has prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name.
Right.
And he said, Wherefore it is that thou doest ask after my name. And he blessed him there. He blessed him there.
All right. So he said, why are you asking for my name? All right. And he still blessed him. But who do we know Jacob is wrestling with at this moment? He's wrestling with an angel. Right? This is an angel that Jacob is wrestling. Remember, it says that they wrestled until the breaking of the day. This was a very long time they were wrestling. Right? They were wrestling for a very long time. Right? Read on.
And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the Most High face to face,
right,
and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh.
Right.
Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the snow which shrank,
right,
which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day.
Right. So what is a sinew? What is a sinew? It's not bad. Right. It's a tendon, right? It's a tendon. So when you see that, it's like all those hard pieces in the chicken, right? A tendon is what connects the muscle to the bone, right? These are things we are not to eat of the animal, right? So when you have that little hard strip of that chicken, you're not supposed to eat that. Or even that ox, or whatever the case, whatever animal it is, it says the children of Israel are not supposed to eat these things. That's a custom for the children of Israel. Why? Because it comes from this story right here, right? When he wrestled that angel and he touched the inner part of his thigh, right? We don't.
Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the snow which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the snow that shrank. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came.
So before we move on, anybody have any questions about that?
I wanted to ask, like, is that like a bristle or something like that? Or they call it like the soft bone or something?
I'm not sure. It's like that rubbery part, a part that can't really be chewed. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
hate them.
absolutely, we're not supposed to eat those. Huh? What?
So like the top part
I know
of
that's
the
good.
chicken, it's kind of like a rubbery part.
Yeah.
That they call it a bristle.
Right. Because a lot of people they eat that whole bone. Right? You have some people in Israel that eat that whole bone. Like they just can't do it. They eat the entire thing. Right? But we know there's certain parts of the animal we are not to eat. Right? You talk about the bone, you talk about the sinew, you talk about the fat animal. These are things that are not good for Israelites to eat. Right? So we don't.
This is chapter 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the two handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph in their most. And bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the woman and the children, and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which the Most High have graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. Came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as thou hast seen the face of the Most High, and thou wast pleased with me.
So Jacob is gassing Esau up right now. Right? He's telling him like it's like I've seen the face of God. Right? He bowed himself 7 times before Esau. Right? He's giving him all these kind words, all these presents, just so he won't be killed. Right? Gassing him up. Right? Absolutely. Keep reading.
And he said unto him, my Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. Verse 15.
Okay, come. I don't think you finished 11.
Oh, sloppy. Verse 11. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because the Most High hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, my Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according to the cattle that goeth before me. The children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. And Esau said, let me now leave with thee some of the flock that are with me, with the flock that are with thee. And he said, what needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord.
Right.
So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir, and Jacob journeyed unto Succoth, and built him an house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padanaram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it Elohim Israel.
Israel. Right? Right? So what we have here is what did it say? Esau returned unto Mount Seir, and then Jacob went to journey in Succoth. Right? So let's see what's about to happen.
Verse 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she shall bear unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her.
Right?
And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, give me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come.
All right, so this man, a Hivite, just defiled Jacob's daughter, Dinah. Right? So let's see what happens after he defiled her.
And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in line with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done.
All right, so the sons of Jacob came out in the field when they heard it, and they got upset. Why were they mad at this point? Why were you? You said what? Let's look at that. They did something that they weren't supposed to do. Right? Remember, the children of Israel are separate from the Hivites.
He said, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
We can use that, but it goes more into detail on what just happened, right? Go to Deuteronomy 7 and verse 1. All right, you could use that. Because he didn't want his it's going to say it, but he didn't want his sister to be called a harlot. All right? Deuteronomy 7 and verse 1. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Most High thy power shall bring thee into the land whither thou goes to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites.
Now the Hittites, the Girgashites, we know.
And the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Most High thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
You at verse 3?
I'm at verse 2.
Go keep reading.
And utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them, no promises, no agreements, no contracts. Read on.
Nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Thou shalt not make marriages with them. This was established a long time ago. This was established before Deuteronomy. All right, what you got? A harlot?
Yeah.
A harlot is someone that sleeps around from man to man. Right? A prostitute, somebody that is not supposed to be done in the nation of Israel. Right? You do not do that in the nation of Israel. Right? These are things that as we work on, these are some of the things that our men and our women struggle with. Right? Being a harlot, being a whoremonger. Right? These are things you pick up certain habits coming up in this world, and they teach you certain things. Oh, just do that, or we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to do that. For the nation of Israel, we look for what? Husbands and wives. Not just a one-night thing and, not girlfriends, not boyfriends, right? You look for a husband or you look for a wife. That's what it's supposed to be. All right? You got that, right? All right, hallelujah. All right, so jump back to Genesis.
Verse 7. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 34, verse 7. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. Right, so they're just trying to mingle the whole nation of Israel. They want to become like the nation of Israel. Right? They want to be us. They're trying to get that inheritance. They want us to be them. They want themselves to be us. Right. They just want it to be one big mixing pot. That's not how the Lord created it. All right, keep reading. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and give you a possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife.
He said, listen, I'll give you anything you want. Just name the price. Name any price. I'll match what you need. Just give me Dinah as a wife. Right? Read on.
And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah, their sister, and they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us.
All right, we read it.
But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised.
So what is he asking? He's asking Shechem. He said, look, you yourself, and you gotta go make all your men circumcised at this point. right? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta take that razor and do what you need to do. He's telling the men, the Hivites, to do this at this point, right? You know?
Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor, and Shechem Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father.
Right? So they waited not even a second later to do this thing. They said, let us all do it. Say, I'm about to get Dinah, I'm about to have a beautiful Israelite wife. Let's do it. Right? Read on.
And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came unto the gate of their city and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us, for to dwell with us, to be one people. And every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised.
Right.
Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours?
Right? So they want to take that. They're thinking deep into the future about this stuff. Right? They're saying, listen, even their cattle shall be ours too once we circumcise them. Right? There's a benefit for everybody. As long as we all circumcise ourselves, we should have a benefit in this. Right? But let's see what happens. Keep reading.
Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem, his son, hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore,
They were still sore on the third day. They didn't even heal properly. Right? Read on.
The two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi,
right? The two brothers, Dinah's two brothers, right? Read on.
Dinah's brothers, each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males.
So they just circumcised themselves for no reason. He just made them circumcise themselves for no reason. On the third day and killed everybody for one woman. But that just goes to show you how important we looked at ourselves. Right? All those men because they defiled one woman, their sister. Because of what? They had respect and they had honor for her. Right? And that's the type of mindset we got to get back to. We can't afford to spare one woman nor one man. We can't afford to spare not one person. Right? This is the type of mindset they had. They slew the entire people. They didn't have nothing. They didn't have anything to do with what they did with Dinah. Hamor did with Dinah. But they slew the entire nation of the Hivites, the males. Not only that, they made them circumcised. So now they were in pain when they died. They didn't even get to heal properly. That's messed up. All right? But it just goes to show you how important they looked at their sister. So you defiled our sister, we're going to kill all the people in your family. All right? You got to get back to that mindset. All right? Keep reading.
And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister.
They said, you defiled my sister, not only are we going to kill you, but we're going to take all your precious metals. Everything that you have, your cattle, your houses, your servants, we're taking all of that with us just because you defiled our sister. You didn't ask us, can you lay with my sister before you did it? And now everybody has to pay. That's the type of royalty they rocked with back then. You defile one woman, you're finished, man. Now we look at it like, oh, it is what it is. Right? Oh, she's with an actor, she's with a Edomite. It is what it is. We don't look at it. We shouldn't be looking at our sisters and our brothers like that. All right? Everybody in the nation of Israel is special. Every soul. Right? You have a question?
Now, today, society, they push
Yeah, absolutely. They push it. They want America has America has taught everybody that this is just one big melting pot of nations. Everybody can come and get along. Right? That's what America pushed. They want to be one nation under God, supposedly. Right? But we know the God of the Bible doesn't support that concept. And never did, and never will. God created the Israelites to be separate from the very beginning that He made them. Right? He never wanted us to go mingle because what? That's how we became defiled. With these other gods, serving these other doctrines, these other religions, or philosophies, tradition of men. That's why He didn't want us to mingle with them in the first place. Right? So we are not to do those things. Right?
Wouldn't that be considered like the other nation, like that? Wouldn't that be giving other nations our inheritance as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember what they just said when they was talking to Shechem and Hamor. They said even all their substance would be ours too if we could just give their lives to marry them. Because they know once they start crossing lines like that, all their inheritance is mingled up there. All of it's confused now. You don't know what land is what. You don't know which landmark is whose. Right? It's just going all over the place within the nation now. Right? It was never created to be that way. Right? So read on.
Verse 29. No, verse 28. They took their sheep and their oxen and their donkeys, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me, to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land.
So Jacob got mad with the two sons. He said, look, man, you just caused me to have a bad look in front of everybody out here. Why would you go do that? You killed all of these people in their land. This is a nation that's bigger than us. We can't do that. All right, keep reading.
Among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with a harlot?
Are you telling us to make our sister like a harlot? Right? He's not about to deal with our sister like a harlot. Our sister is more than that. Our sister is a princess of Israel, right? So that's why they went and to kill everybody, right? She shouldn't have been over there in the first place, right? So jump down to chapter 35.
Verse 35, chapter 35. And the Most High said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto the Most High, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau, thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange powers that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto the Most High, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way in which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange powers which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem.
Right. So what's going on? Where did they get these strange gods from? Right? Where did these strange gods come from?
More in Shechem's cities.
Right. When they took this and spoiled the other nation, they took everything. Remember, so they took their gods with them as well. Right. And they took some of their gold, their jewelry. That's why I say they took their earrings, they took their strange gods and gave it on to Jacob. You know?
And they journeyed, and the terror of the Most High was upon the cities that were round about, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because their power appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak. And the name of it was called Along Bakuth. And the Most High appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram and blessed him. And the Most High said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel.
So this is the Most High reestablishing his name again. He's telling them, listen, your name is Israel, your name is not Jacob. All right, we know.
And the Most High said unto him, I am the Most High Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And the Most High went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon.
He poured oil and he poured that drink offering. It's the same thing, you know, when you start getting to Leviticus, Exodus, and Deuteronomy, and they were sending up these sacrifices. Sacrifices were always required from the Most High. Even in the book of Genesis, all right, they always had to give up what belongs to the Most High. All right, we don't.
And Jacob called the name of the place where the Most High spake with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephraim. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was departing, where she died, that she called his name Benoni.
You know.
But his father called him Benjamin.
This is where the tribe of Benjamin is being born. Right? Tribe of Benjamin is born at this point. You know.
And Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass when Israel dwelt in the land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12.
All right. So you have Reuben he actually laid with the concubine of his father, which we know was not permitted in the nation of Israel. Right? We know.
The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun, the sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Rachel, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padanaram. And Jacob came unto Isaac, his father, unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years old.
How old is that? 104. So 180 years old. That's how old Isaac was when he died. All right, read on.
And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
Right. So there was a lot that went down in that chapter. As we go through chapter 36, it's very important that you pay attention, because now we're about to start getting into the lineage of Esau. All right. The lineage of Esau. So what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and finish this chapter. Like I said, when we're done with this chapter, we're going to take our break. We'll eat. We won't be here that long today because I have to go back down for council, for soldiers council tonight. We have to be back in Fort Lauderdale. So we're going to go through council after we come back from the break of reading this chapter. I can't give you a solid time, probably around 3:15. Probably 3:15, 3:30, somewhere around there. Right. Tribe of Dan. There's something that happened with it. Give me Joshua, I think it's 14 and verse 4. Because if you look, Dan kind of just disappears from the 12 tribes, right? I know some 12 tribe chart we have him there, but when you read the 12 tribes, let me see. Look at Joshua 14 and 4 real quick. That's a good question, though.
Just like the man that goes and so children of Israel did. The body of the man, the children of Israel came out to Joseph.
That's 14 and 4?
Yeah.
Try 4 and 14. That's a good question. Let me find this for you real quick. Please. Hold on 1 second. Joseph to Manasseh and Ephraim.
We had a double question, because of what he's done.
Right, absolutely. So, but what I'm trying to explain is that Dan, for some reason, Dan just kind of fell off. Right, when they started naming the 12 tribes later on in the scriptures, Dan was nowhere to be found.
And I think in one passage it says, then they already know.
Oh, for the children of Joseph were 2
They
tribes.
already know how to basically give us right.
Say that again, sis.
I thought I read somewhere or heard somewhere they say that they were enough to make them a tribe, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Joshua 17 and 5. What you have?
We're talking about Joseph, we're talking about Manasseh and Ephraim.
Yeah, read that. Yeah, read it.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 14 and verse 4. For the children of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. Therefore they gave no part unto the Levites in the land, save cities to dwell in, with their cattle and for their substance.
Right, so the reason I read that is because later on in the scriptures, they start that 12 tribes turned to from Joseph, which Joseph is the 2-part tribe, which they have Manasseh and Ephraim. So Manasseh and Ephraim are named on that 12 tribe chart. So when you start going into the scripture, go to Revelation chapter 7.
The tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000.
Yeah, read from verse 4.
Okay. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 7 and verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
We're talking about each tribe where these people are going to be coming from, right? Read on.
Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000.
Right, read.
Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of Gad were sealed 12,000.
Right.
Of the tribe of Asir were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000.
Right.
Of the tribe of Manasseh
Right.
were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000.
Right, that Joseph, that's talking about Ephraim right there. Read on.
Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000.
So when you read those 12 tribes, Dan is not really, he's nowhere to be found. Right? I know when we start going, when those 12 tribes, anytime those 12 came throughout the scriptures, later on in the scriptures, he's just gonna kind of come out of, right. He's gonna come out of nowhere. But even in these 12 tribes right here, it doesn't mean Dan.
But like how they say like Judah is African American.
Right.
How
Right.
That's like, what was Dan, like, what?
We try to say Dan was like Cuban, somewhere along that line, right?
I thought they said the north side of it. But, the question that I have, could that be that there are first amongst us?
It could be. It could be, absolutely, it could be. I mean, I've heard different breakdowns for that whole Dan situation. It's very complicated. Very complicated. Yeah, but I'm gonna look into that. I want to be clear to the information I'm giving y'all on Dan because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page with that. That's why I didn't really. They would go back into a big thing going on with what's going on with the tribe of Dan, and it just wasn't enough information there to kind of pinpoint that. But that was a good question.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36, and verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebon the Hivite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Reuel, and Aholibah bare Jush. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his house and his cattle and all his beasts and all his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau.
Scriptures, Esau is referred to different. Esau has different names. This breaks down those different names that is referred to Esau. Right, so you have one Esau is called Edom. You have one that will be called Taman, and then I think another one, a big one that they call them is Bozrah. Right, so all of these people, you kind of want to kind of mark it or hide it or do something right next to it to let you know that this is Esau. Right, so we don't.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir.
Right,
these are the names of Esau's sons. The wife of Esau, Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau, and the sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, and Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz, and Timnah was a concubine to Eliphaz, son Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. There were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife, and there are the sons and Esau's wife, and these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife, and she bare Esau Jeush and Jaalam and Korah. These were dukes of the Esau, of the sons of Esau.
Right, so that's very important. These were dukes of the son of Esau. Who is still considered dukes on this earth right now? The English, right? Yeah, right. I mean, they call themselves dukes till this day. What does the word duke mean? It's kind of like a master or a chief of their people, right? Esau's the only people that refer to themselves as dukes till this day. All right, so that's another giveaway that Esau is. So
Esau, Duke, Timan,
all
right, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, and Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz, the son in the land of Edom.
Right, so you got Taman and you got Amalek. That's another big one, right?
These were the sons of Adah, and these are the sons of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Ahilabama, Esau's wife, Jeush, Duke Jaalim, Duke Korah, and these were the dukes that came of Ahalabama, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan and Ezid and Mishan. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. Right. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Himam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these, Alban and Menahath and Ebal, Shofar, and these are the children of Zebulun, both Ajab and Anah. These was that Anah was found with mules in the wilderness, and he fled the donkeys of Zebulun, his father. And the children of Anah were these, Dishan and Halabama, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishan, Hemdan and Eshban and Ipharon and Korah. The children of Ezir are these, Bilhan and Zavan and Akan. The children of Nishan are these, Uz and Aram. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Latan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zeboim, Duke Anah, Duke Dishan, Duke Ezir, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of.
Pay attention to those names that I gave, because they have importance and significance later on throughout the scriptures. Among Bozrah, all these people refer to Edomites, right? The dukes, all of these dukes, right?
And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before he came over the children of Israel. And Bilal, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bilal died. Bozrah reigned in his stead, and Jobab died, and Husham, the land of Tam, stead, and Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul was Pa'ul, and his wife's name was Mehet Abel, the daughter of Matri, and the daughter of Mezahaba, and these to their families, and after their places by their names, Duke Timnah, Duke Alba, and Duke Jephthah, Duke Elah, and Duke Nebzari to their head of the Edomites.
Let's clap it up for the Most High.